Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's episode of Tiffany Talks. First things first, let's get the light popping and get the chat activated. Okay, so Tiffany Talks was a show created for everyday people to have extraordinary lives. And so, how do you have an extraordinary life, right? First off, you get to believe that you can have it, right? And second off, you get to go into committed action towards achieving it. But what I want to talk about today is what happens when all of that positive thinking doesn't work, right? What happens when all the positive thinking doesn't work? So there's several things. I want to share a story with you which will hopefully paint a picture of what I'm going to talk about today. But first, if you guys like this episode, you like the show, please leave a comment below and let me know any other topics that you'd like to cover, because this is about us. This is a show about us having a conversation. And second of all, please hit the subscribe button. Hit subscribe and notify, because when you hit notify, you get on my mailing list so that you can find out when I'm going live, when I'm not going to be here. You get all the updates directly from me. So remember to hit subscribe and notify. So we have Ross Stars checking in. I see Nadine. I see Logine, who finished her exams. Congratulations. Wafa is probably there too. And so have you guys ever wondered, I remember when they first started talking about the movie The Secret. Robin Miller is here too. And everyone was saying, oh, just, think positively and everything will come to you. Well, that's not necessarily true, because they left something out. So I'm going to share a story with you guys. Hi, honey, where have you been on the workouts? I'm going to share a story with you guys that happened to me. It's a true story. One day, I just decided out of the blue. I'm like, I'm going to make $5,000 this week. Right? And I didn't know how, right? So that's the positive thinking. I didn't know how. I said, I'm going to make 5,000. I'm going to just generate. I'm going to source it. I'm going to think about it's going to happen, right? And then I got, like within 3 days, I received an email from somebody who wanted to team up with me, and they offered me $5,000. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, it totally works. I'm so positive. I'm vibing. I'm attracting. I am on fire. Right, but before I responded to the email, I got a phone call. I got a phone call from one of those fraudulent phone calls that was supposed to be from the IRS, and they were like, you owe back taxes and blah, 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 and I got terrified. Now listen, let me tell you what happened. I got terrified. So my thoughts were positive, and then something happened, right? Something happened, and I got scared, right? So I want you guys to hear the logic of the brain. So the brain is thinking positive, and then an event happens, and then you get an emotional reaction. Are you guys feeling me? Positive thoughts, event, and then emotional reaction. Now I want you guys to think about times in your life when you've been so excited or positive about something, and then something happened and changed your whole vibe. Like everything just went sideways, and your emotions just went to like a 2-year-old. You were sad, you were upset, you were having tantrums internally and all of that. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, I don't know if you guys have heard of him before, but if you haven't, I recommend getting his book or reading it on Audible. Hey, Nikiba, called Break the Habit of Being Yourself, right? Break the habit of being yourself. And I'm going to continue with my story. Don't worry, but I'm just interrupting this to let you guys know that one of the things that he says, and it's super important, are you guys listening? Brain cells that wire together, fire together. What does that mean? What does that mean, right? So you have brain cells, right? So like if your parent tells you, don't go outside with your shoes off or you're gonna get sick, right? So here's a thought, and if you repeat it over and over again, it becomes a belief. Don't go outside with your shoes off and you're gonna get sick. So it comes from an authority figure. So now your brain goes, okay, outside, shoes off, am I gonna get sick? And then if you do get sick, then it goes outside, shoes off, get sick, right? And so your brain cells, they're wired together. So every time you go outside with your shoes off, what are you thinking about? Getting sick. Because your body will actually fire off those neurons to confirm what your brain is thinking. To confirm what your brain is thinking, okay? So that's what it means by like these neural pathologies in your brain, right? And when they're always working together, you just get that same series of events and you will yield the same result. So this is what happened with me. So I'm like, I'm getting my $5,000, and then I get a phone call, IRS. Now, what happens when you guys hear IRS and back taxes? What happens, you guys? And if you're not from the United States, that's the Internal Revenue Service. You guys hear anything from them, you're like, you're like panic, you're going to be paying money, and you're going to be sad and distraught and anxiety and stress, and all of these emotions come up, right? Because I got triggered, right? And that's what it means to be triggered, right? Triggered is when something in your brain, right, triggers a memory, a belief system, a thought pattern that elicits a negative emotion. Okay, listen to me. So when you're triggered, it's a belief system, a thought, an experience that triggers a negative emotion. So when people say IRS, it's like, like everybody pretty much gets the same emotion. They owe you money. I mean, you can get heart palpitations, all kinds of things from something that hasn't even happened yet. So listen to what I'm saying, right? So I went into panic mode. I was nervous. I had anxiety, and nothing had happened. I just believed it would happen. So my brain cells that were wired around what would happen with the IRS fired off a neurological response that gave me a physical reaction in my body. I hope you guys are following this, right? So when you're saying your positive thoughts don't work, it's because sometimes something happens and interrupts your emotional signal. It interrupts your emotional signal to your brain. So I went from being happy to filled with anxiety in a second. Right? So I was like, and then I was like, boom, stressed out. Okay? So what happened next, you guys? What happened next? I panicked, and luckily, I'm already a person that thinks abundantly. So I wrote them back, and I'm like, yeah, but I need $10,000, right? Because I'm now thinking that I have my back against the wall and I'm actually going to need more money. So I told them that I needed $10,000, right? And I think it was like on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And then you know what happened? Nothing. Crickets. I did not hear from them all day Thursday, all day Friday. So now you know what's happening? I'm beating myself up. More negative emotions. So go from the beginning of the story. Positive thought, right? I'm like, yeah, something happens. An intervention that triggers me, and then my emotional well-being starts to go down the rabbit hole. From anxiety to stress to now I'm beating myself up for making the wrong decision. Oh no, you're being so greedy. Why did you do that? You shouldn't panic. You have 5,000, now you have no 1,000. They're not going to answer you, blah, blah, blah. I went through this whole sort of series of emotions of being mad at myself. So guess what, you guys? Positive thinking is out the door by now because my emotions have taken over. So here's the difference. There is emotional intelligence and intellectual intelligence. And when you don't develop your emotional intelligence, it will derail anything in your life. When you're not emotionally intelligent, it derails everything in your life. So those triggers, remember those triggers? There's like landmines all over your brain. There's triggers, and they trigger us into an underdeveloped emotional reaction. So now I'm beating myself up. Listen, you guys, nothing has happened yet, but I'm beating myself up again. So then it's Saturday. By this time my stomach is in knots. I feel like I've lost something. I feel like it was all my fault. I'm like stressed out. People are talking to me. I'm snapping at them. I have this whole story in my head about like what I should have done, what I shouldn't have done. I have anxiety and I couldn't take it anymore. And then so I went on YouTube, right? I went on YouTube and I don't know exactly who I listened to at that time. If I could tell you, I would tell you the person, but I listened to someone who taught me a really important lesson. And they said, if your thoughts, right? If your thoughts don't line up with emotions, you will not be able to manifest that thing that you want to create. And what that means is like if you're thinking one thing, but emotionally you are feeling the absolute opposite of what you want to create, you will not create it, okay? It wasn't Les Brown, but I'm sure he said it too. So here we go. I was saying I wanted everything to work out, but I was feeling like nothing was going to work out. I was feeling guilt. I was feeling shame. I was feeling anxiety. I was feeling stress. Now, none of these things are BFFs with positive thinking, you guys. Positive thinking is not a BFF with guilt and shame and regret and self-beat up, right? They must align. That's right, Regina, Michelle. We are on the same page. They must align. So it's like you might be thinking, so I was trying to be positive and like, it's going to work out, it's going to work out, it's going to work out. But emotionally, I was in turmoil. So then, guess what happened? Guess what happened? Are you guys on the edge of your seat? I decided to change my mindset. I changed my mindset and I said to myself, is that you manifested the $5,000 and now you asked for 10 and you're all worried because they haven't responded. Because you're thinking that is the only $10,000 on earth. And I asked myself, is it true that there's an abundance of money and resources in the world? Yeah, that's true. Is it true, like just like you manifested that in 2 days, you can manifest another $10,000? That's true too, right? Is it true, right, that there could be money, you could bring money to you at any time if you believe it so? That's true. So I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to stress out over this $10,000. I am going to source $10,000 from anywhere. I changed my mindset. And when I did that, I did this one thing, you guys. I just breathed. And I believed that it was going to happen. And I released all that tension and stress. And I stopped being attached to the outcome. Are you guys hearing me? I stopped being attached to the outcome. Like it didn't have to happen a certain way, right? I just knew it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen. So who wants to find out what happened next? Who wants to find out what happens next? That was Sunday. On Monday, I opened my email. And they had written back and they said, well, we would like to offer you $9,000. I said, yes, yes, I'll take it. And I said, that $1,000 lesson that I learned, I will write that off as worth it. And I took the $9,000. I said, yes, because it was worth it to me, right? It was worth it to me to just say, hey, whatever that extra $1,000, the $10,000, I learned a valuable lesson that not only is going to serve me in my life, but it's going to serve me in all of your lives. So if you guys are hearing what I'm saying, positive thinking must align with your emotions. It must align with your emotions. Now listen, you guys, since that point, I have gone on to study transformational leadership. I have gone on to study how the brain works. I have gone on to develop like a foolproof method of actually manifesting what you want in life. It's incredible, and it's called the Mindset Makeover. And it's a journey of coaching and self-discovery and transformational leadership that I have a small group of people and we grow and flow in our manifestation of leadership. So that's going to be coming up soon, right? That's coming up soon. That my course group is ending on February 15th. I'll be opening up a new course in March. Regina, thank you, baby. Yes, we are on the same page. So listen, you guys. Oh, this is so powerful. Thank you, Regina. Abundance and energy is a flow. It's a giving and a receiving. It's a giving and a receiving. The moment that you get stuck and you're holding on and scared that you're not going to get any more money, you're not going to have enough, you're just always going to be struggling, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? When you open up your heart and your mind and your emotions to the abundance of the universe, it will flow to you easily and effortlessly, and you will be able to give easily and effortlessly, giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. If you just do this right, it feels good. If you just do this, it feels good. So now I'm giving energy out, and Regina gave me abundance just out of the blue. Money can come everywhere, you guys, everywhere and anywhere. So I want you to believe, right? Believe that positive thinking and positive emotions create a positive result. Math, positive thinking, positive emotions, positive result. If you have positive thinking and negative emotions, if you have negative thinking and positive emotions, which is kind of hard, but if you're thinking, there's some people like that. There's some people like that who have negative thoughts. They're in a good mood, but they believe nothing good's ever going to happen to me. I never win. I never win the lotto. Ha, ha, ha. No, I never find love. But I'm good like this. Ha, ha, ha. I'm never gonna get promoted, but I'm just good where I'm at. There's lots of people who have positive, emotions, like they're happy, but their thought process is so limited because they haven't been exposed to the abundance of the universe, right? They haven't been exposed. So you need both. So I want you guys to type it in the chat so that everybody can come in and read it. Positive thinking plus positive emotion equals a positive result, right? Positive thinking plus positive emotion equals a positive result, right? And also remember that energy flows where the attention goes. Energy flows where the attention goes. Energy flows where the attention goes. So if your energy is in abundance and giving, you're throwing out there so fast, it has no choice other than to come back to you, because everything in the world is circular, right? It's circular. Giving and receiving, giving and receiving. So that is, yes, that's right. Positive thinking plus positive emotions. Thank you, Regina Michelle. Thank you. I really would love to have you at my retreat. Write me a get fit at trfc.club. Yes, Dr. Nakiva Jackson, positive thinking plus positive emotions equals positive results, you guys. So whenever those things are not lining up, you guys know that something's off. You got to get it together. And it's usually our emotions, because we don't go to school for emotions. Nobody goes to school from emotions, and our emotions are taught by our parents, and nobody taught them emotional intelligence, so we get to learn that, right? So when we were younger, we were either stifled, sit down, be quiet, we were punished, right? Or we were just like speak when spoken to. We weren't taught how to deal with our emotions, and it bubbles up when we become adults, you guys. That inability to handle your emotions in a mature way. Thank you, Robin. Positive thinking plus positive emotions equals positive results. That's right. So the emotional intelligence is a big part. So we have to be able to, the way that you get around those triggers is it's almost like they're calling the bomb squad, you guys. Thank you, Wendy. If you have a bomb, your trigger is like a bomb going off in your brain, like what happened with me, of anxiety, of stress, of hopelessness, of fear. Those are triggers, right? And they also don't exist. They only exist in the future because you believe it so. It's not happening right now. All this anxiety, it's like a bomb going off in your brain, right? And it's creating your brain, those neural pathways, right, to fire off the same emotion every time an event happens. So IRS, anxiety, right? So I don't know what it is. Sometimes people have, I'm trying to think of some other examples of when your brain Like, going outside without shoes, get sick. Oh, your chest is open. Oh, my lungs. Like, there's all these things that we believe that are going to happen, and we actually manifest them through the beliefs and that emotional connection, right? So I just want you guys, I want to land that message with you guys, that when your brain believes something and you have an experience and those two things are together, it creates that trigger, and that's like a bomb that goes off in your brain, and it's a bomb of emotions and emotional unintelligence, right? So what do? You got to bring in the bomb squad. You got to bring in the bomb squad. That's a Mindset Makeover. That's my course. And you start to take these little wires and take them apart so you're not triggered by the same things anymore. So when that event happens, so once I de-wire my negative emotions with the IRS, if I got that message, I would say, no problem, I know it's all going to work out for me. It's going to work out. So what else? What's for dinner, right? So you don't get triggered by stuff, right? You don't get triggered. So I hope this episode really served you. If you liked the episode, I want you to please share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to put a link to my Fit, Fierce, and Fabulous retreat. I put a special discount in there. You can do it this Saturday and Sunday, or you can do the whole thing Thursday through Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and you will learn how to start to unwire those negative thoughts, free up your emotions so that they can serve you, and start creating the life that you want. Hey, Aurora. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I love you. Bye. See you. Yeah, share with your daughter, Ty. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe and hit notify.